Hello, I'm Timothy Shea with another MAGA Institute news update for Ohio Political News. Interesting times in which we live. Recent document drops from the Department of Justice indicate that, yes, as we all knew, Russiagate was directed by Barack Obama out of the Oval Office. So not only did Hillary know that the Steele dossier was bogus, not only did she know that Russia collusion, the Mueller investigation, the Mueller report, the national nightmare they put us through for 2 years plus was bogus. It was all directed by Barack Obama. Barack Obama told James Comey what to do. Barack Obama told James Clapper what to do. Barack Obama told John Brennan what to do. This goes right to the heart of the Oval Office. It is the biggest political scandal in American political history, much bigger than Watergate, which was a botched cover-up of a failed break-in, but what was really a bloodless political assassination. It's no coincidence that Gerald Ford was Richard Nixon's vice president, having been appointed the only president in the United States never to have won an election. And the same Gerald Ford that was on the Warren Commission that investigated, covered up John Kennedy's assassination. They knew they couldn't shoot Nixon in the head, so they took him out bloodlessly. It was an assassination nonetheless. And speaking of assassinations, we now learned that Thomas Crooks was a tranny and a furry. Or was he? People are expressing mystification as to why the FBI, which came out right away with Tyler Robinson's porn proclivities, that released the Nashville shooter's porn proclivities after it took over from the Biden Department of Justice and the Biden FBI. So why haven't Cash and Dan come out before today? Why did they wait until after Tucker's big expose last week to leak a story to Miranda Devine at New York Post today? People have no trust in the media, in the government, in anybody, certainly in neither political party. We're all St. Thomas from Missouri. You got to show us. Speaking of showing us, it's going to be a big day at the Supreme Court when Watson versus Republican National Committee is heard by the Supreme Court. This is an appeal from a Fifth Circuit striking down, a Fifth Circuit decision striking down a Mississippi law that permitted ballots to be received 5 days after Election Day, provided they were postmarked by Election Day. Well, states are playing fast and loose with federal law, which requires mail-in ballots and absentee ballots to be received by Election Day. Oh, no. Due to the COVID scamdemic, states decided, federal law doesn't really mean what it says. It's more like a federal suggestion. Illinois went so far as to accept ballots received 14 days after Election Day. That's right. You could wait and see how the election was going, backmark some ballots, and all of a sudden, voila, the Democrat wins again. Well, state law does not trump federal law in this instance, even though the Constitution gives states the responsibility for determining the place, manner, and time of their elections. Federal election law must be obeyed. It's significant that this is a Mississippi case. Mississippi's in the 5th District, which also includes Louisiana and Texas. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals is one of our most solidly originalist, stick to the law federal circuits. This is not the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals out in California. I expect that Supreme Court is going to say, no, federal law is federal law. Ballots must be received by Election Day. And why does this even matter? Are mail-in ballots that big of an issue? Well, we all saw in 2020 that they can be. Moreover, this will set the tone for other election law cases that will be brought before next Election Day. It's going to be very busy in terms of election integrity. There are going to be new laws put forth and new lawsuits challenging those laws. So we've got to lock down our elections. Otherwise, we have no republic. Speaking of locking down, some NBA players and coaches are getting locked up. Portland Trail Blazers coach and Hall of Famer Chauncey Billups was arrested October 23rd, along with former player Damon Brown and current Miami Heat player Terry Rozier. The charges: money laundering, wire fraud, and yes, conspiracy to defraud, and a variety of gambling charges. NBA games going to go out a little bit early with an injury, so you might want to take the under. There was a whole network of prop bets, proposition bets. Will Terry Rozier hit 20 points tonight? Will he get 10 rebounds? Well, if he goes out after 9 minutes, odds are no. So if you took the under, you win. Well, that's called cheating, and that's against the law. Also tied up in this, however, is rigged poker games involving the 5 families of the mafia. Everything from x-ray tables so cards could be read to rigged shuffling machines. And everybody in the room was in on the grift except for the mark. These were high rollers that were invited to play with former athletes at high dollar tables. And if they accused the game of being rigged, well, the boys from New York would pay them a little visit. This is huge, and it's getting bigger. The original arrests were October 23rd, and more information is coming out, and more players, coaches, and teams are involved. Are any of the Cleveland players involved? Is Queen LeBron? Time will tell. That's it for today's MAGA Institute news update on Ohio political news. Make sure you follow OPN on X, on Facebook, and on all the platforms. Until next time, God bless you. God bless these United States. Keep fighting the good fight.